Ghost Beast!
Ghost Beast.
Hello and welcome to Ghost Beast, a horror podcast. I'm Todd, joined by my wife Becca. Hi, Becca.
Hi.
We watched Last Voyage of the Demeter. Is it Demeter? Demeter? Demeter?
I don't know.
Did they say it in the movie?
Yeah.
How'd they say it in the movie?
I think they said Demeter.
Demeter. Last Voyage of the Demeter, which is a movie from 2023, and it's directed by Andre. Oh man, do you know how to say that? When you start getting the abnormal characters.
Andre Overdahl. Overdahl?
Why is it so fast?
I don't know. I didn't design the iPhone. That doesn't sound right. I don't know.
Andre Overdahl.
Overdahl. It's directed by Andre Overdahl, which I think is how you say it. I had no idea what he had directed, but when I looked it up, he's directed Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, and Troll Hunter. Did you see Troll Hunter?
No, I don't think so.
That's from like 2010. That's a cool movie. We should watch that. But okay. Scary Stories and the Autopsy of Jane Doe, both
They're
really
very
good.
good.
Yeah. Had no idea. But this movie is, right out the gate, it's pretty interesting because this isn't a spoiler, do you think?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
You can't read from my eyes what I'm about to say. No, it's it's a story about it's weird because it's like, it's really not a spoiler because if you know what the Demeter is, like that's part of the whole mythology.
I feel like even in the trailer, like it's introduced, at least the one we saw.
Yeah, and it's even if we're talking non-spoiler, which we'll do up front, it's hard to figure out what people would consider a spoiler here or how to even talk about it. Because that's what it is. It's they adapted this tiny part of, the story. Like,
I feel like that gets into it's been around for like
that's an issue too.
I don't know.
But it's interesting because I think when they were, maybe they did refer to it as in the advertisements. I can't really tell, but it felt like they were just advertising it as like a kind of monster movie that maybe had a vampire in it. But it's weird because it's like, maybe we will like bleep that one part.
Okay.
But it's weird. It's hard to talk about because I guess if you don't know what the Demeter is, then you don't know what the story that it's adapting is.
So every time you have made a mention of I'm going to have to beat that out.
Maybe.
Okay. I'm going to have to beat
We'll think about
out.
it. We'll think about it. But that's what it is. It's adapting the story of how he traveled to England. And it's in the original movie, but it's usually the way that it's what?
I'm going to have to edit that out. Okay. What are we doing at this point?
Maybe it's okay. I just don't know. That's the hard part. Maybe people can like reach out to us because that's the story is that like he gets on this ship inside of his box of dirt. And then when it shows up in England, like, and that's supposed to be just a part of that whole mythology. And so the story is adapting like, okay, what happened on the ship, which I think is really cool because it's just such a weird slice of that story that, as far as I know, hasn't really been explored like this.
I don't think so.
So it's kind of original in that sense, but it is kind of like it doesn't wear on its sleeve the fact that there's another one to beep out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
do you know what I'm getting at here?
Well, I know what you're getting at, but like I feel like we really can't talk about it.
Is that where you're landing on this now?
Yes, it's time to move on.
Okay.
Because like, what else? I wouldn't want to hear any.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
spoiler.
if we're talking about the story, it is kind of. I mean, if you really break it down, it's like a monster movie that completely takes place on a ship during, what is this, like the 18th century? You know, it's weirdly like a period piece, because I think that was something I didn't expect from it. Because I'll be honest, when I saw the trailers for this, it looked very bland, I guess. Like, it didn't look very exciting. But I was kind of intrigued by what it was adapting. You know, it's like I said, it's weird because it's a kind of big budget production, but the story feels like something you'd see in like a little indie movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's such a small slice of this big story. But I thought it was much better than I expected.
It was better than I expected, too.
And I remember hearing good word of mouth, which is the whole reason I wanted to see it. And it was fun. Like, it wasn't amazing. I think it actually might have been better if it was like a smaller indie, like A24 style movie.
I think I would have. I'll just be biased anyway.
Well,
but
yeah.
I mean, like, I feel like I'd always love to see A24 do something with whatever.
Because there is a kind of sheen to the production. I don't know how else to describe it.
They have their own style, and it's really hard to pinpoint exactly what it is, but you know what it is. Yeah.
But this movie feels like more of a like expensive mainstream horror movie, you know? And I don't want to say too much against it in that regard, because I think that's really the only weak point for me. Because everything else that's done in the movie, I think, was really good. It's like it's a very fun monster movie, and it definitely gets very violent. Like, we'll get into some more details when we talk spoilers, but there was like it's a very violent movie. It doesn't like shy away or hide from that, and I think it's like it's also a really interesting, fresh interpretation of a vampire. Again, which we'll get into in spoilers, but do you agree with me that it's like, it doesn't feel like a standard adaptation of this story? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, that's a lot of the stuff I thought we were going to talk about in spoilers.
Oh, we will. But I just, in general thoughts, you know, I think that's a fair way to like set it up. You know what I mean? And like I said, it is oddly like, it really leans into the period, especially in the beginning of the movie. And that part, they definitely went further with that than I expected. Even just like the day-to-day stuff on the ship, it felt like they were trying to be like very authentic to what that would be like.
Yeah, I mean, I figured we get into art production stuff in the spoilers, but I don't know where to... I never know, because I just would rather talk about the spoilers.
It's hard, but I want to at least give people like a general idea if they're thinking about seeing it, you know? So you would recommend it, though?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because I would, too. It's much better than I expected. Not, like, amazing, but very solid. And it felt very fresh. So let's talk about spoilers. I don't know how I totally lost track of time. We did that for 8 minutes. That felt very short. It
felt very long.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it felt long to me.
So if we're talking spoilers, I guess if we decided to beep... Go ahead.
Like, what do you want me to do? I can't make sound.
If we're going to beep out that it's Dracula, which it's...
We don't have to now.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, now we can say it, and it is, like... It's very difficult to figure out where that line is, because that's just straight up what the story is, you know? But it does feel like they were beating around the bush in a way that maybe if you took away the title and everything and went into it knowing nothing, it is interesting the way that it like builds up to, you know, the full reveal that it's Dracula.
Yeah.
It's just that if you know the story at all, just the title is going to give it away.
Yeah, well, I will say I don't know if it takes away from the movie.
No, it doesn't.
You know, like, it's definitely not a spoiler that I would think someone would be upset that they knew, unless you just decided to turn it on without reading anything.
Yeah, and I mean, and knowing what it is, I think that's part of what makes it interesting is as soon as you hear Last Voyage of the Demeter, it tells you exactly what they're adapting, which, like, the one sentence is it's Dracula's voyage to England on this ship that was seen as like cursed, where all the crew died. And the idea that they're adapting that is interesting because it's so specific.
Yeah,
you know?
And I think what really drives it home is that they nailed like an old pirate's tale of a voyage.
Yeah.
Like it really felt like an old ghost story.
Yeah, absolutely. The director did a great job with that part.
Yeah. And it was terrifying too.
Yeah, and it's very scary. And I think that's the thing I was going to get to is that it does feel like it's so easy for this to be something that is kind of generic and predictable, where it's like, oh, it's just Dracula on a fucking ship killing everybody. Like, you know what the story is.
Yeah.
And in the trailers and stuff, they showed him as like this bat thing, which even in the movie, Bram Stoker's Dracula, I don't know how much you remember from that movie. Like, when did you see that?
Years ago. That was like one of the first like couple older movies I'd seen at that point.
Okay. Because that's one, I saw that a lot when I was a kid. Probably too young, but I thought it was cool as shit. Mm-hmm. And there's that part where he is like that man bat thing, which I think is right after his voyage. So you kind of get the idea, and I think what they did to keep it fresh and interesting is they definitely have a different interpretation of Dracula in this, where it's like much more of a monster.
Yeah.
You know, because they do something really interesting where, you know, when you're first seeing this thing, he seems like all weird and like feeble, like he's been like, I guess he hasn't been eating in a while, and he's slowly attacking everyone like once a day. But then there's that part where so there was like a woman who I guess was packed up with him as like food.
Like a blood bag. Yeah.
And she has this line where she remarks that he's not just a beast, that he's like don't be fooled, he's very smart. And you start seeing that because there's a part where he kills the one person where he looks like this weird feeble old man, and then he springs like super fast and grabs him.
Yeah, it's very scary.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's a fresh interpretation where he's very beast-like, but it's clear that he has like a man's intelligence. And it really leans into the idea that no, he's a monster first and a man second. Whereas a lot of other interpretations, he'll be a man first, you know, and be very like gentlemanly, but then he has this bestial nature that comes out. And this kind of flips that around, and it portrays him as this ultimate like predator, you know, like this creature that is also able to blend in. And it makes you wonder, like, is this interpretation meant to be like he's just a fucking demon, like just some creature, or was he once human? Like all that stuff is kept very vague in the movie. What do you think?
I mean, this isn't Edward Cullen at all.
No.
You know,
no, not quite.
These aren't going to be sexy vampires.
Yeah, because even at the end, there's that part at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
That seems to be like setting up a sequel, where he finds him in that like tavern, and he's dressed up and has a cane and all this stuff, but then you see his face under the hat, and he still looks like a fucking monster.
Yeah, it looks a lot like Nosferatu, which is really fucking cool.
Definitely. So I think that interpretation I thought was very interesting, and it kept him like very scary. Yeah,
I would love to see the concept art for a lot of this stuff, just because the prosthetics were really great. Like they were so well done, and especially like that end shot was just, it was creepy, but it like felt natural. Like it's like, that's what it would look like.
Yeah,
they did a really good job with that.
And I think once it was clear that's what they were doing, because he was all dressed up among people. I was wondering if he was just going to look like some handsome guy, you know? And no, he still looked like a monster. So keeping him like very inhuman throughout the movie was a choice that was interesting. And they have a lot of different versions, I feel like. There's the ones where he's more bat looking, and then there's some where he looks like an old man, and he's like really tall and frail, and you know, it looks kind of like the creature at the end of like Wreck, or what's the other one? I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
it's a very scary interpretation.
Well, I feel like it's falling back into making a classic like refreshed. Like we're seeing a lot of these movies I think come out right now where I feel like there's this peak mixture of usage of visual effects and practical effects being kind of married. And I'm really loving seeing all these different interpretations of traditional creatures that we've seen. You know, like well, I can't list them out because then they're spoilers for whatever the movie is. So I'm going to hold myself back there.
You have a bad habit doing that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I don't know. It's really cool to see. And I don't mind seeing a remake if it's a reinterpretation of the remake, you know?
Definitely. And speaking of the special effects, the violence in the movie is like very brutal, very extreme. Like it's not like he's just gently biting their neck and sucking the blood out. It's like it's vicious.
Yeah.
It makes him feel more like a creature, like an animal.
Yeah, it definitely feels like how most vampire attacks are supposed to look like. Yeah,
and it makes it more frightening because Dracula is one of those characters we've seen so many interpretations, you know, along this huge spectrum, and the way he's interpreted in this as just a monster. Because even when she's the woman who's there, when she's describing what it was like back home, where he was just like feeding on everyone and they were living in terror, that's a part of the traditional story. But when you see it like this, where he's like this literal monster, it makes it feel much scarier and much more threatening. So all of that stuff was very cool, very well done. What do you think about the main character? Because he seems to be set up as like, you know, he's one of the only survivors. I think it's him and the woman, right?
No.
Oh, that's
the
right.
Woman did not live.
That I didn't quite understand because it seemed like that was the other thing that was cool is when he bit people. You turn, but they portrayed it as like you turn into this fucking ghoul, like this monster.
Yeah, like a slave ghoul or something. Like it seemed like he would like possess them and make them do things, but they weren't like sentient on their own always.
Yeah, which is another interesting extension of, you know, this interpretation that they don't just turn into vampires, they turn into like these zombie monsters.
Yeah. I think what were you gonna say?
No, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I don't know if this is what you were having issues with at the end with her, but I think it's probably assumed like he fed off her a lot, so I would assume like maybe she can become a vampire. I don't know. I fell into it. I thought it worked okay.
Well, no, it was the fact that like he would bite the men like once and they would turn, and she had signs of being bitten like maybe it's because of that blood transfusion that he did.
Oh, it might have been. Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever that was, it went over my head.
It doesn't hurt the movie for me that I don't completely understand that. But I do love that she chose to sacrifice herself.
Yeah.
And like not maul this poor guy.
Well, she probably also didn't want to live like that.
Well, no.
You know. Yeah. So yeah, I guess he was the only survivor. I thought he was a good character.
Yeah, he's a solid actor.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's like I said, I think they're setting it up. Like at the end, we were like, oh, is there going to be a sequel? Because he has like this little monologue about, you know, trying to hunt this thing down or whatever. And he runs into him in the tavern. So I guess it's like, okay, we'll see where this goes. But I'll be honest, I guess I'm interested to see how they continue to portray Dracula like in that kind of setting with this version of Dracula.
I don't know. I trust them with it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it.
But it is like, you know, this movie was interesting for being, you know, this interpretation of this story we haven't really seen.
Yeah.
And if it's just Dracula, you know, in England, I think we've seen that a bunch. So I guess
I think they proved that they can do something a little different.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly, and it would suck if the movie comes out and it's not like this. But right now, I will say, if they take that same energy and just move it into the next story, I think it'll work really well.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. That we've seen enough of this interpretation to know that it's like it is something different and interesting. And I think after seeing this movie, I would be interested in seeing like what they do with it next.
Yeah. I think I've always been a fan of seeing vampires a little bit more vicious than sexy and weird, predatory.
Yeah, I think the sexy scalar was like turned all the way down on this version.
I think mostly because I love True Blood, the HBO show, so much.
Oh, that did both.
Yeah. And I love that. I think that's great, but I also like seeing just completely villainous and monstrous is really interesting too.
Totally. I think that's all I got. It was definitely better than I expected. Had a lot of fun with it. Do you have anything else you wanted to say?
No.
Okay. So you can find us on ghostbeast.com, or you can search for Ghost Beast Pod in most platforms, and we are Ghost Beast on Letterboxd. Follow us there for our giant list of the best horror movies. And if you want to recommend anything or tell us how we completely spoiled this movie for you, you can contact us at podcast.
We let you know when there's spoilers. We try.
Podcast at ghostfeast.com. Thank you.